We'll begin. Your sit bones, your hip sockets, the pubic bone in front, can you feel your breath moving or arising? And this little nest within the pelvis. From the tailbone to the navel. And just a little bit larger nest or space. By attuning to our breath here in the body, we can often attune, it can help us attune to that more cellular way of breathing, where the cells breathe. This is different than the lungs breathing. And I'll often take a much gentler style or quality of breath to feel this more global, cellular breathing. It's a different way of listening. And now we'll prolong the exhale. So that it's longer, it just feels longer than the inhale. And that'll be the beginning of our pranayama. Then we'll place the soles of the feet together. Barakanasana. As we move forward, moving from this sense of pelvis, abdomen, core, so that as we move forward, there's no tightening or collapsing the front of the body or the intestinal area of the body. So really the space of the body moves forward. And again, can you feel the cells respire in the hip sockets? Behind the pubic bone. In the lower abdominal space. In this way, we're attuning to something other than muscles. We can still feel the muscles, but we're letting other subtle sensations take precedence, be foregrounded. And inhaling. You can walk your way up or press your way up or simply sit up from the heart space. And just help the legs into place. Right leg will set out, and the left heel brought in close. And we're moving into a side bend. And perhaps in this side bend, we can sense how this left half of pelvis, the space of the pelvis, might feel continuous with the waist. Might feel continuous through that lung space. As you reach the left arm overhead. So to help you feel the space of the body, feel how the breath moves. Feel the breath movement in the left hip and waist. The left lung. You can feel if the lung glides around the heart or the lung and the heart move as a fixed unit. These organs can counter-rotate over each other. You can feel that, and you can feel for that. Inhale, walk the hands back. We'll keep the legs exactly like so, twisting to our left. So the right hand crosses over to the left knee. I'm just placing the left hand on the ground. So the space of the body breathes. Sure, there may be movement in and around the lung area. And releasing. We'll change over to the other side, side bend and twist. So if I wanted to, this is just an optional experiment, I could feel my lung kind of gliding or rotating around my heart. I could feel my lung and my heart moving as a singular unit. You feel the lung and the heart gliding over each other. So we're moving into side bend, and you can experiment with that. Even if it sounds a little unusual, I think it's still possible to get quite different perceptions by simply attuning to the organs inside the space of the body. And when we sense the breath at a cellular level, when we sense that the organs have these relationships that sometimes slide and glide and counter-rotate, the perception of our body may feel more unified. So while they're kind of funny little cues or ways of considering our movement, the net of that is, do I feel more unified? Or do I feel more disjointed? Like there's these discrete partitions, these compartmentalizations within the body. So. And inhale, we'll come up. Twisting to the right, the legs may remain exactly as so. I'm passing my left hand to my right leg. And again, if my lungs glide around the heart, or do my lungs lock on with the heart and move to the right? It's play, but it's play that can fractionate or contain the whole experience. Is when we stop feeling change, even just subtle little glides and shifts, we often lose feeling, we lose perception. And release. We'll lie on back and get a little elbow to knee going. When we bring the feet off the ground, just want to lay some options out. You can feel or focus on the front of the body. You can feel or focus on the back of the body. We can feel and focus in the middle, the space of the body. Inhale. The head and the shoulders slightly off the ground. I'm doing that without pulling on the neck. And I'm feeling the tailbone move toward where my umbilical cord was. Exhale, the left leg out. I'll draw the belly down. Inhale, bend knees. Feel the tailbone move as if it's linking up with where an umbilical cord was. Because it did, the tail and the umbilical cord became a unified kind of cellular thing. Exhale the right leg out. Pulling low belly down. Inhale, bend the right knee. Exhale, reach out through the left leg. Can you feel where the tailbone is? If it didn't move, can you feel the tailbone? Draw the low belly down. Inhale, bend left knee. Exhaling, right leg out reaches. Pull low belly down. Let's do about 2 more on each side. We can do those on our own. Yeah, that's different, Vijay, huh? This is different. Neat. Yeah. We'll do one more while we're lying here. Sometimes it's fun for me getting to, play with some of these practices day after day. Is feeling how sometimes the residue of a previous practice will inform a next or a future practice. It's kind of fun when you can get a sense of, oh, something that changed previously is kind of staying with, and it's part of a new perception. That's really neat. Straddle lifting through, we'll bring the legs up and apart. So give yourself plenty of room. You can do these one of 2 ways. You can do it with the head being elevated each and every time as a little extra abdominal work. I'm choosing to do these with a roll, so I'll be leaving my head down and using my hand pressure, roll pressure, against the pubic bones, just for extra sensory, an extra sense perception of pelvis, pubic bone. So many times when we have like a concern or a little point of interest, maybe a little ache or something in the pelvis, I think it's beneficial to work with the pubic bone and the halves of the pelvis. This is the joint. This is a joint where the halves of the pelvis unite and relate. So hip considerations, I think, should also bring in this pubic bone joint. Just an idea to your body. I'm going to do them with roll on pubic bone. Inhale. Right down to the pubic bone, into that space behind the pubic bone, and then exhaling. The pressure can be used to guide the pelvis, to steady the pelvis, Draw the low belly down. Okay. Inhaling, and tailbone, the pelvis can relax, just kind of rest on the ground. And exhaling, the tailbone shifts. If you're using the roll or your palm heels on the pubic bone, you just get a clearer sense if half of your pelvis rotates or lifts more than the other half. Pull low belly down. It's all fascia that we're pulling from behind the pubic bone. Let's do about 4 more on our own. Just, can you feel breath and movement behind the pubic bone, in the hip sockets, near the hip sockets? And when you are complete, just use hands, help legs together. Let's turn to a side and press to standing. Wide stance. Inhale, arms out to the side. And exhaling, descending just enough that I can start to feel the space between the hips, between the pubic bone and the sacrum, which may not be your deepest horse stance. Again, if I can attune to the space, the cellular breathing of the body, and get some different insight than just lung breathing. We're hooking the left elbow over the right, eagle. Also gliding the shoulders down. And inhale, unwind the arms. And change over to the other side. Exhale the right over the left. And release by inhaling, unwinding, straightening the legs. When we walk the feet under us, we'll set up That was nice. For dolphin. And on exhale, when the neck feels relaxed, we'll press the knees off the ground. I'm going to just keep asking us about the lung-heart relationship. Can you feel the lungs and the heart? They have a gliding relationship? Do they have a fused relationship? And as we settle the weight into the right heel, picking the left foot up, a lot like our side bend from earlier, can you reach that left leg away from the lung and the heart? And what is that breath movement like in the lung and the heart? And hopefully some of that attending to the belly. Just some moments ago, the pelvis, the belly, you can feel that breath movement. Residual, that kind of illuminated breath movement in that left side of pelvis. It takes a little bit of finesse to feel that breath movement occurring kind of evenly through the whole body. We'll set the left foot down, and then if you can remain in dolphin, we will. Switching sides. And we'll settle the right foot down, settle the knees down. And again, we'll stand. We'll stand at the top of our mat. Chair pose. Inhale, bend knees, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold. Monkey, inhaling. Use the hands to guide the heart away from the lap. And setting the hands down, exhale. We'll step back. Chaturanga. We'll lower all the way down. Cobra. So when we inhale and feel that breath movement in the heart, Just feel if that heart area remains soft, even as those bones around the sternum and the spine move. Exhale, lower downward dog. So as soon as we harden the body, like we unconsciously grab or tighten, that begets that process of unable to move or change, kind of stifles the movement and the change that enhances our perception. Inhale the right foot forward, warrior two. So lining up that right heel with my left instep. And exhaling. And feel the tailbone, the pubic bone. Just together, reorganizing. So it's under the skull. Go. And as long as there's no knee issues, you get quite deep in this stance. And of course, if there are knee issues, we just guide ourselves away from pain. Extended warrior. Inhale, I'm bringing this right arm. I can go arm to thigh or hand to ground. It feels all right for me to go hand to ground, so I'm going there. And the extended part is, again, when I move, I can move my limb or I can move with the awareness of my heart and my lungs and the space of my body. Okay. And just a reiteration, if getting that deep into the hip is a little much, you can prop your arm on your thigh. Okay. Now, can you still feel the breath movement in the pelvis? Because this can start to get quite deep in the hip and the groin, especially if we're reaching out through the space of the legs. And inhale, place the left hand down, the left knee down. Twisting pigeon toward the foot. So walk the right leg over, lie the right leg down. Now, if I'm moving with regard to the space in my body, I might just subtly move my trunk in the direction of my right foot. And if the space of my body permits me to start to reach my right arm over my right foot, I certainly can. I'm going to experiment a little further back here. So that I'm moving into this twisting pigeon, again, without hardening the heart, without hardening the pelvic floor, the space of the pelvis. And inhale, bring the hands under the shoulders. Exhaling, downward dog. All right, here's that warrior on the other side. Inhale the left foot between the hands. So warrior two. And I think thus far we've done quite a bit to bring our breath and our breathing attention in and around the pelvis. And I wonder, can you feel that breath movement on the front side and the back side in an even way? And so some subtle adjustment of the pelvis or the legs or the stance might help you feel that the breath in the backside of the pelvis. Matches the breath that you feel through the front side of the pelvis. So again, there's this kind of equal distribution of your breath and movement throughout the body. And we can do this area by area. Can you feel the breath movement equally in the upper back as you can in the upper chest? Extended warrior. Inhaling, we can go left arm to thigh or left hand to ground. And the right arm reaches overhead. Wow, how's that even distribution of breath movement? Right, inhale, bring the right hand down, the right knee down. We're setting up this twisting pigeon. So walk the left leg down to the ground. And you might start to move your arm or your trunk to the right. And so when I attune to the cellular breath, when I attune to my hips breathing, my back breathing, the the pelvic floor breathing, my ribs breathing, my brain breathing. I'm attuning to that much earlier in a lot of these cellular processes. It's a very early place in our human process. It's very at once primal and vital. It's even primordial and vital. Inhale, walk the hands back under the shoulders. Exhaling, press back, downward dog. All right. Inhale the right foot forward for Interlock Warrior. Kind of getting into these deeper hip places. The right arm encircles the right thigh. This is from the inside of the thigh. The left hand behind the back. And so can I inhale and feel breath's movement softly in the heart without kind of launching or pressing the heart forward, without compressing all of those heart vessels and heart nerves. Again, when I harden, I often lose feeling. It might be momentary, it might be over many, many years of unconsciously hardening. So in that, when I can feel the cellular breathing, when I can feel the space of the body, I can also feel the softness. I can feel if I'm hardening. I'm kind of in that part of the process where I can sense before there was a protective or an inadvertent hardening. So it's kind of like flipping back to an earlier page in a manner of speaking. I release the hands. Inhale, set them to the ground. We're backing up for pyramid. So I'm straightening the right leg, walking the hands up. And I'm also adjusting the left foot in so my pelvis now turns toward the front of the mat. Okay. And exhaling, fold forward. Now, with or without blocks, we'll shift the hands forward for vertical splits. So just a little bend in the right knee to get things moving. Setting the hands down in front of the right foot, about 6 or 8 inches. Raising the left. I was lifting the left leg away from the lungs. Feel the lungs and the heart relaxing away from the pubic bone. And can you feel your breath behind the pubic bone and behind the lungs? So that even distribution of breath movement perception might be getting a little fun or experimental or tricky at this moment, but inhale, set the left foot down, all the way down, step the right foot back. Exhale, lower belly to earth. We'll just do those few poses on the other side. Cobra. Inhale from pubic bone to the diaphragm. Soft heart, even as you're pulling, even as you're elevating. The heart can have this softness about it. Right, exhale, lower down, downward dog. Inhale the left foot forward, interlock warrior. So the left arm encircles the left thigh. Right hand reach behind back. Is it still possible to attune, to sense that pelvic space? And again, sometimes I physically kind of reorient. I might push out, activate, or move a foot, or turn a hip here or there. Sometimes a physical movement helps me feel the subtle body, the space body. I find that when I can sense down to this cellular breathing, like the consciousness that is in every cell, a lot of strange things just start to resolve themselves. Again, it's kind of flipping back to an earlier page in the book, an earlier part of these processes. Seems to have a very renewing influence. Release. We're setting up for pyramid. So at once, we'll straighten the left leg, adjust the right foot in so the pelvis turns. So now my pelvis faces the front of the mat, and fold. Drawing that left sit bone back. All right, here's that that vertical splits. Bend the left knee to get me going forward. Hands to ground. Right leg raised. I brought us here because so often there's a tendency to halt our breath in some segment of the body. We may discontinue feeling the breath in the pelvis, or we may feel a hardening around the back of the lungs and the heart. So in your vertical splits, can you still feel the whole body, that unified body breathing? Can you feel that breath moving in the pelvis as evenly as you can around the lungs? Can you feel that breath movement as evenly in the lung area as the head area, as the abdomen area? Inhaling, set the right foot down. Exhaling, we'll step the left foot back, chaturanga. We'll complete the sun. As with soft heart, even if the arms are working strongly, inhale, cobra. I could do that without hardening the lungs or the heart. Exhale, lower, downward dog. Inhale, we'll step or lightly jump, feet forward, monkey. Exhaling, fold. Chair, bend knees, inhale, reach arms up. And exhaling, stand, hands to heart. Let's have a seat so we can take a shavasana. So please, help yourself to rest. And we actively participate in feeling the body rest. Why am I saying it like that? We're not doing rest, but we are experiencing that the body is at rest. We're having the experience of resting body. It's quite common that when we disconnect from action, doing, that there's a slight loss of consciousness in the absence of action. But we maintain that consciousness. In fact, we remain attuned. In fact, we may even feel more of what consciousness is like, what it feels like in our body in rest. There's still a lot going on. And forgetting, trusting that the body remembers what it needs to remember. When you're ready, bend knees. And turn to a side and use hands to press up. Namaste. Have a wonderful day.